Welcome, everybody, to CD's Nuts Podcast. We are here today for a very special live stream. I'm joined by my friend Flamini.
Hello.
Our other
I
two.
I
I'm
suppose.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No worries. I didn't have much in my mind anyway.
Mind empty. Then nothing else, just mind empty.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just one of those
I
days.
completely understand. That was me yesterday. Brain empty, out of gas. The gas station to fill up my brain is a little too expensive. Um, I am, however, going to go to my live stream here, and I don't know why that's scheduled. Why is that a scheduled podcast? We're going to talk to my lawyers about that later. Um,
Eh?
I clicked on,
So how
I
does
clicked on my channel.
what does that look like on your end?
Don't. I
Ooh.
clicked on my channel and I was just like, oh yeah, you can do this. And then I'm like, yeah, cool. Anyway, so I'm not really going to be paying attention to the live chat because Flamini and I are doing the special episode. And also, I feel like it's better just for podcast sake that we just do what we do. I don't know. But, so I'm mostly going to be paying attention to Flam, and not chat. So how are you, Flam?
I've been doing great. I've been working on some stuff
Yeah,
that I'm quite proud
you
of.
should be. Speaking of working on some stuff, Justinut has also been working on his manga, and he sent me a link today of yeah, it's
Oh?
of character crafting. It's like a big old document where it's got. Imagine you're filling out like a hospital form or a form for the doctors, right? And you put in your address, your weight,
Yeah.
prescriptions, all that jazz, all that jazz. Like your first time you're going. Imagine it's like that.
Like he's got everything written down, all of the juicy
Yeah,
tidbits.
so like it starts out, so it's like character name, height of character, weight of character, astrological sign, blood type, like
Mhm.
how they dress, how good are they at math, how good are they at reading, are they illiterate? And it goes like all the way down, and it's like everything is in like a little box, and it's so
Yeah.
well organized. I couldn't.
I wish our boy was here so I could ask him for how long he has been working on
It
this.
seems to be only a day. I can actually send you the link to this because apparently, or at least according to Justinut, so take this with a grain of salt, I
Yep.
suppose. I'm gonna just toss that in the. Oh no, podcast links. There we go. Bam. That would be for you, Flam. So basically, the
Oh.
author of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
Yep, I recognize the
Yeah,
name.
that is the author. So the author who does that uses this template to do his character outlines and
Oh.
stuff. Speak of the fucking devil. Speak of the fucking devil and he shall arrive. Did you forget podcast day? Usually it's me who forgets podcast.
No, I just expected it to start at 2, so technically I'm 7 minutes early.
Bro, Flam and I have been here since like 1. We've been waiting. Hey, how are you doing, my guy? I was actually just talking about you with the manga that you're writing and what you sent me with the character
Oh, yeah.
spreadsheet, which
Yeah,
I thought is actually pretty dope. It's actually pretty dope.
that's so freaking in
It
depth,
really
too.
is.
And you know what's scary about it? I'm doing it for a total of 30
You're doing that for
characters for the
30
first arc.
characters in one arc, bro. We're about to get the next One Piece out in here. Just give this man about 20 years.
So,
The two pieces.
God.
Oh. Anyway.
We're live,
Yeah,
aren't
we
we?
are. I said I was live streaming this one. I'm gonna start just live streaming the podcast because why not? Because if I don't live stream the podcast, odds are I'm not gonna live stream on my channel at all on Wednesdays. So I'm just like, eh. I'm not gonna pay attention
Yeah.
to chat because I want to pay attention to my friends more. Plus, that's better for podcast conversations. But so
I
yeah.
got you.
Anyway, so here's
I have a topic that I like to talk
that's
about.
great.
I'm super disgusted by.
Oh, that's not great.
He had us in the
Oh,
first
what's
half,
not
not gonna
great?
lie.
Well,
Darkrai is an OU.
oh yeah, I knew that. Like, do you want to know why? It's because
Why?
I will explain exactly why Darkrai landed in OU. Look at Ubers. It can't exist. It just doesn't have the stats for it. Look at OU. It's gonna absolutely
Oh.
shit on everything in the tier. The reason it can't exist in Ubers is
I'm-
because it doesn't have the bulk and it doesn't have the power. It quite literally needs a nasty plot, meaning all other sets are just invalid. Because why would you use Darkrai
There's also the
when you
fact-
can have Yveltal? Why use Darkrai when you can have Mewtwo? Or other really strong special attacker that's probably faster, or if not, it just hits that much harder, or has better bulk, or
There's also the
I
oh
live-
my God. There's also the fact that it just basically has a non-existent ability due to Dark Force still being nerfed to the
yeah,
ground.
yeah, they nerfed it.
They still haven't rectified their mistake.
No, they haven't. Like, I don't understand. You know what I would do with Bad Dreams? I would make it so that there's a 10% or 20% chance every turn for the opponent to fall asleep. It's just a dice roll. That's what I would do to it.
I like the other idea that you had where it just basically turns it into like a leech seed effect.
Yeah, that's also what it should be doing. Because then that's more incentive to run Hypnosis Darkrai. You wouldn't run Dark Void because it's less accurate than Hypnosis. Why? I don't know, because the VGC is that important, apparently. When they could just say singles meta is official, let's buff Darkrai, and then suddenly there are so many more players doing official competitive Pokemon stuff because the game doesn't tell you anything about VGC. You have to go out of your way to find that and learn that, and everything in the game is like singles format. You get like 5 trainers that randomly want to do double battles throughout the entire game, and that's about it. That is your only introduction to VGC that the game gives you, is 5 random trainers. I don't even feel like I'm exaggerating, even though I know that I am, because we all know exactly what it's like.
You're not exaggerating because I can make it worse. I can make it worse. I make it so much worse. Because as far as meta goes, VGC allows Pokemon that you can get via from other games, which sounds okay until you realize that some of the best Pokemon
Oh yeah, you're
are
gonna get
so
into
broken.
you're getting into the pay to win thing, which is, you know what, that's whatever. That's whatever. I think Pokemon needs to just have a game where there's just one game, at least one, where all Pokemon are available, all TMs and previously learnable TMs and move teachers. What are they called? Tutors? Yeah, the tutors. Yeah, they just need to have a game that connects to all the others where that is a thing. Where any Pokemon is available in the game, we can teach them any move that has previously been taught in a game, and just leave it at that. Because then that can get transferred up, and a bunch of people are going to buy that game for the exact reason that I just gave. It allows people not to have to go back 20 years ago and buy a fucking Game Boy and buy a fucking copy of Ruby or Sapphire or Emerald and then have to go to these random events where these event Pokemon, and some of them you can't get because the events just aren't, they aren't current, and they were just like a one-time thing, so you can't get like a Wish Salamence anymore. That's not a thing. I think also Soft Boiled on Clefable was one of those things too, wasn't it? Wasn't that like an event thing? So it's extremely rare to actually see that. Granted, those aren't typically Pokemon that you would see in VGC anyway, but still, it makes a big difference. Anyway, I don't want to get into this discussion. That's not what today's podcast is about. Today's podcast is about the true trip down memory lane.
Oh no!
I told you this. Now, Flam over here did his homework twice. He did his actual homework from school, and he did podcast homework. Which was not think about something that he has in mind that he can talk about to say the story from memory of. So is there anything, Justinite, that you can think of? I will give you 5 minutes. We can fill this to 5 minutes if you don't. 5 minutes to think of a game, story, either anime, manga, book, franchise, that you're just saying what the plot of the game, what happens in it, and you're retelling the story straight from memory. And it has to be something that you have not thought about in ages. It could be something from like your childhood that you just like, after you like grew up a little bit, you just never thought about it again. So I'm trying to reawaken the shackles of your mind.
I got you. Question: what are we defining as ages?
At least 10 years. Or at least 5 years, I guess.
10? Oh, shoot. I can't include our friendship.
5
darn.
to 10 years at least. I'll give a range, because it kind of depends. That does not include fucking Xenoblade for you, by the way. Because you play those games religiously.
Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. I'll tell you what. I haven't played the original Pokemon games since 2005.
And what are we classifying as the classics?
Yeah, is that like Red, Blue, Yellow?
The original Red, Blue, Yellow.
Okay. That one, I've never played the original Red, Blue, Yellow. I could tell you what I think happens in them, and I'm probably about 40 to 60% correct. Okay, I can give you that. But I mean, like, we all kind of know the story. So we're gonna compare. Like, after we get done telling our stories, we'll all sound the alarms. We'll all come back together, join hands, and be like, all right, what's the real thing? Go to the internet and see what the real story was, and see how close we were to being accurate.
Oh, God.
The whole purpose of this is to be wrong, but not to purposefully be wrong. It's just being wrong because we all know that human memory is inaccurate.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I have two things, mind you. I have two things that I can talk about, and I'm gonna start with Spyro when I start going. That'll be my first one.
So I do have one question regarding the matter. Should I include any glitches from the games? Because if anyone knows about Red, Blue, Yellow, those games are a mess.
Yeah, you're completely filled with glitches. Yeah,
total
I know
mess.
that. They're completely filled with glitches. And even competitively, you were supposed to take advantage of those glitches to dominate in the competitive format of Red, Blue, Yellow. It is insane what you're supposed to do there.
So my memory is very altered because as a 5-year-old, the story was affected by glitches.
That's fine. Look, however you remember to tell the story, You can't only say the glitches. You just have to say how you remember the story going. You are not explaining whys unless it is pertinent to the story.
Okay. As far as I remember from Red, Blue, Yellow, because I've only played Red once, and that was way back when, was that Red gets his call from his, basically his bedroom, that he has to pay, I assume, from his pay to rent from his mother.
Red has to
He
wait a
leaves the
second.
home and tries to.
Red?
I made that part up.
No, just keep going.
You asked from memory.
So Red is
Red
living with his mother, and he's having to pay her for rent, and he got a call from his bedroom to start the game. Okay, let's keep going.
To go out into the open grass, and then Professor Oak stops him and brings him back. Now this is where things get funny, because as I enter the lab for Professor Oak, I see a whole bunch of letters, or at least I remember seeing a whole bunch of letters like AEX equals square root of pi equals.
Why? Is this like on a noteboard?
Because I probably pressed. This is on the text of the game.
Oh, okay.
I told you we're talking about glitches. This is what we're gonna be talking about.
And did the ABAB start?
And so I walk up to. So I walk up to Professor Oak, but all that's typing out before me, and I'm freaking confused. And I see Professor Oak standing there, says, "Hey, you, grab a Pokemon," as he has a pi symbol above his forehead. I'm like, okay. So I go over, pick Charmander, and Blue picks Squirtle. Then I go to fight, and I beat the snot out of Blue, leave the home, and proceed to win. No, literally. I proceed to win, and and it goes to what is it, like you win the game. You become the champion. Literally, that's the next screen.
This man actually did the up, down, left, right, ABAB
Yeah.
start bullshit.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
What's that? What is that again? For those that don't know?
Yeah. Skip the entire story, and that's what I remember.
That's incredible.
And you pulled that off with no prior knowledge whatsoever?
None. The game is so buggy that I
He-
did the accidental.
You must have walked in a
Huh.
specific pattern to make this happen. Going to the grass as a 5-year-old.
The stars just
I was
aligned for that
five, too.
moment.
Hold on.
What? Okay, well, now that he's out of the way and out of the picture, my assassin must have found him at his box address. Anyway, so Calamity, do you want to go next with your story, or do you want me to start with the Legend of Spyro?
I've got a bit of a crackhead one.
Alright. I like crackheads that don't do drugs.
So let me just. How can I phrase this best? Gee, it's way harder when being put on the spot like this. But okay, let me. So one of the books that I loved to read back in my childhood, back before I started to hate reading because of high school forcing me to read just pick out like books that I had absolutely no interest in, and we were like forced to write reviews of it as if we knew like every little tidbit of it. Like it, God, it fucking sucked.
Trust
But
me, I
before all
I
of that,
remember those days, and SparkNotes was my friend because I could use SparkNotes and BS it and make it just seem like I didn't use SparkNotes. It was wonderful.
and would be I've never heard of the
You've
name
never heard
before.
of? Oh, hold on. I need to send you this link. This is extremely important. SparkNotes. SparkNotes.com. So it's more of a study thing now, but back in high school, this was like
Yeah.
my best friend. So SparkNotes is basically a place where if you don't want to read a book, you can get the down low on all of the major things that happen in the plot, etc., etc. And you can base stuff around that. They also have stuff for math and science.
Yeah, I did kind of have a similar thing where you could like find kind of a synopsis of the books in question, and like also find links to like kind of reviews and whatnot on it, and just basically um like basically bullshit your way through with just that, even without actually reading the thing, because they didn't bother to
Oh yeah,
check.
no, 100%. Even in the teachers say they will check and all that stuff, you would have to be really bad at BSing to get caught. Like that's the requirement is you have to be good at BSing.
AKA my sources that I made it.
Oh, the power. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So one of the childhood books that I loved back in the day was the Twits by Roald Dahl. It's basically about uh these two old these two this old and ugly pair that just basically spend their years just absolutely trolling the ever living f out of each other by doing stuff like um let me I don't remember what kind of trolling they did. One of the pranks I remember them pulling on one another was putting worms in one person's spaghetti,
Putting what in their spaghetti?
and with
Oh, worm.
worms.
I thought you said rims, like on a car.
No,
Vroom, vroom.
maybe that's just my mic being horrible. But um, one of them also had like uh, uh, yeah, this is the problem with trying to remember it all from memory.
The whole point is to be wrong. Just say the
Um,
first thing that comes to your mind and be confident in your wrongness. Because that's what makes it true.
um, one of the other things they that one of them did to pay each other out was they would sneak out in the middle of the night and like um take little wood chips and paste it to the walking cane that one of them was using to make it seem like it was growing every day, and then gaslight them into thinking they had an illness that made them shrink.
Nunny? This sounds like a YouTube prank channel gone wrong.
Kind of is, because they because the person that he's trolling actually believes it, and like he gaslights that person further into like thinking that this into like uh there was some kind of like bullshit solution that he came up with that was basically like a trap to get rid of them forever.
What's this book called?
Um, because they basically gaslit them into thinking they were shrinking by slowly making that walking cane bigger day by day. He proposes that the solution to cure it is to strap that person to a fuck ton of balloons in order to stretch them out.
What?
And he sends them way up
Oh
high.
my god. That's something that needs to be reenacted on like a YouTube pranking channel right there. That's a true YouTube prank right there.
I don't even know what kind of YouTube pranks were or like,
Uh,
you know.
you don't want to know. Most of it's just bad. Like I think there was this one guy who quite literally would walk into people's homes and just make commentary of people's homes that he walked into. Um, what baffles me is the fact he was able to walk into so many people's homes and be able to make commentary.
And just get away.
It's like people just didn't lock their doors. Like, like that was the prank, was just walking into people's houses uninvited. Some of the pranks are even stupider than that. Like they literally run at you with like a bat or a knife, and this is an actual crime that they are committing while doing this, but they're calling it a prank. Therefore, it's not a crime. It totally is, and many people have gotten arrested by doing this because they're just idiots. Don't run at people with knives and scissors. It's illegal. Because that's considered a threat. Don't be a threat. But yeah, that's how most YouTube prank channels go down. But true YouTube prank channels would be doing stuff like that. Make people think that they're getting smaller because the world around them keeps shrinking somehow. And then, in order to solve it, you strap them to a rocket and send them up high, and then they're bigger somehow. You really stretch them out. True.
You know what the funniest part is? Uh, I don't really recall the circumstances behind it, but apparently around the ending of that book, that shrinking sickness turns out to be real somehow.
Wait, what?
just 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 not in the way that you think it would work.
Oh, imagine this is a short story.
It isn't.
It is not. Okay, overview. Let's look at your books, Mr. Roald Dahl. Ooh, you have a lot of books in your thing. Oh, he wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, that's who that is. Okay. Dirty Beasts. That man has a lot of books over here. Maybe one day I'll have that many books. Okay, I probably won't find it off of this list then. Roald Dahl, everybody. Alright. Well, if you do come to find the name of the book, I'll look it up and I'll compare how accurate you were.
It's the Twits.
Twit, okay. The Twits summary. Plot. A hideous, vindictive, spiteful married couple known as the Twits live together in a brick house without windows. They continuously play nasty practical jokes on each other out of hatred for the other person. They also keep a family of pet monkeys, the Mugglewumps.
Ooh.
Alright, this isn't too long, but the Twits, who are retired circus trainers, are trying to create the first upside-down monkey circus. I don't know what that even means. They will always demand the monkeys stand on their heads for hours on end. Mr. Twit uses glue called Hug-Tight in hopes of catching birds for Mrs. Twit to make into a bird pie. The monkeys try to warn the birds before they land on the tree, but the English-speaking birds do not understand the monkeys' African language. Ooh boy. Once a week, the roly-poly bird flies to visit the monkeys to secretly save the birds by acting as an interpreter of languages. On a Tuesday night, a group of 4 boys sees the ladder next to this tree, and they decided to walk up into it, not thinking nor knowing that glue was on it. And then Wednesday morning, Mr. Twit sees that the boys have scared them away, and out of rage, he charges at them. They manage to get away. Mr. Twit then tries several times to catch the birds and, tired of not getting anywhere, decides to go by...
Oh, I remember what happens now in the ending. So basically the monkey troop and the bird try to get back at the Twits for so for forcing them to pull those upside down stunts by basically turning their house upside down by taking all the furniture, all the stuff, and taking the glue that they used to basically trap the birds, and they basically put everything up on the ceiling to troll them back.
Ah, okay.
And then what happens is when the two stumble into the upside down house, they figure that the solution to solve it is by going upside down themselves to try and fix it. Which one of the bird also manages to get a bit of that glue onto the pair's heads, pretty much disguising it as bird shit. and they end up getting glued stuck to the ground upside down, and they actually end up shrinking from this shrinking illness that one of them was trying to gaslight about earlier in the story.
All right then. So you are 100% correct. Yes. So yeah, what you've remembered is completely correct. There was a little bit that you didn't get. And also, there's a very funny part of this. So the idea of the Twits was triggered by Doll's desire to do something against beards, like beards on your face beards, because he had an acute hatred of them. The literal first sentence in this book is, "What a lot of hairy-faced men there are around nowadays." That's the first sentence of this book. What? Man hated beards so much, he wrote a story about doing something against people with beards? What?
That's because they're like in the opening chapters of that book. I think there were a few chapters that went into great detail about how disgusting both of them were, and it goes into quite a bit of detail on the beard. For some reason, but now after all these years, I finally know why.
It makes sense. When it's talking about Mr. Twit on this Wikipedia article, it says something about his beard. And then he says because he never washes it, his beard holds scraps of food stuck there while he eats, including tinned sardines, Stilton cheese, and cornflakes. Occasionally, he licks these scraps out and eats them when he is hungry. What the fuck?
Why?
Yeah. When I said it went into quite a bit of detail about his beard, I wasn't kidding.
Mrs. Twit is the hideously ugly, menacing wife of Mr. Twit. She is said to have quite a nice face once, but her ugly thoughts began to show on her face until she was so ugly you couldn't bear to look at her. What? Oh, I'm giving you a 75% accuracy, Flam. You did great. If it comes from Flaminy's memory, remember everyone, it's 75% accurate.
Worse than Focus, almost as bad as Focus Blast.
Yeah,
Got it.
almost as bad as Focus Blast. Well, I have two. I have two for us that we can use. Would you like me to do Redwall first, or would you like Spyro the Dragon first?
Oh, jeez, Sparrow's probably gonna be a long
They're
one.
both actually going to be long. Redwall's going to be shorter because
Ooh.
I don't remember as much from Redwall. It was a phase I was going through where I was reading so many books, and then I stopped reading them after this phase, but I read so many Redwall books, and they are amazing. The author deserves some credit. They are very much intended for teenagers and younger, and they are just really well written, in my opinion. Very fun. And also enjoyable if you're a furry.
And why is that?
Not the reason that
What?
I just said. Well, they're enjoyable if you're a furry because
I mean,
all the
you did
characters are
say
animals.
you did say at a bit of a phase.
Oh no, the furry face is still here. I'm down for it. I'm not one myself.
Oh.
I'm down for it. You know what? Have fun. Fuck life. Just have fun. Don't hurt other people. The words to live by. Anyway. Oh, whoops.
So how does that have anything to do with this Redwall you're talking
Alright,
about?
well, I guess I'll start Redwall then. It only has stuff to do with Redwall because all the characters in the books are animals. And they're basically anthropod animals because they're doing human things all throughout the book. So yeah. So I guess I'll start. Now keep in mind, I have not read any of the Redwall series in at least 15 years. Maybe a little less than that, but it has been well over 10 years since I have even thought about these books or read them. And I don't know if the author still writes them or not, but it's a great series. So we'll start with the first book, Redwall. So Redwall is a small nation on a giant continent where it is a massive tree. Imagine like Yggdrasil, and all of these little woodland critters are... Why do you have Foxy running down the hallway?
Because of that thing you told me about with them running at people with
Oh,
knives and
okay.
such.
I'm just now seeing that. Okay. So
I'm just making some
So
moves.
here we are at Redwall. It's a peaceful, tranquil place. There's a giant tree. All these little woodland critters are living in, and that's called Redwall. It's a little city that's composed of badgers, voles, mice, squirrels. You know, cute little woodlandy goopers, and they happen to be at an unfortunate period of life called invasion. I don't know if you know about invasion, but it is when someone comes to your home without a warrant and they say, "This is mine now, prepare to die." And so a gang of rats comes on shore from the coast. There are thousands of rats. Hundreds of thousands of rats. There's only about like 1,000 people in Redwall, but there are thousands of rats. They are outnumbered by 10 times their citizens in Redwall. There is a fox hero who happens to live at Redwall. He is trained with the knights of old who have defended Redwall from evils time and time again. Because Redwall, even though it has been peaceful, has been more of a citadel for ages for many families. So this fox hero decides that he is going to train everybody to fight for them, and fight for themselves, I mean. So everyone's going to actually stand up to the rat people. I do not remember the rat people's names. I know that it is not Ungot-Trun. Ungot-Trun is a different rat person from a different book that features a Badger King hero. And I will get to that one later. That one does not take place at Redwall. It takes place outside of Redwall at a location I do not remember that I will absolutely make up to continue my story. Anyway, so big group of rat armies is outside. They've got little catapults where they're launching little Molotov bottles. They're trying to start fires on the tree. I don't remember why they want Redwall. I think it's just because it looks pretty. But now they're trying to burn it down because they're really trying to scare the woodland critters out and be really horrible and stuff. So the people of Redwall defend. They have advantage because they have the high ground. And if you've ever seen Star Wars, you know that having the high ground means 100% win rate.
It's over banana.
Yeah, you have 100% win rate with the high ground. So the little mice archers are firing arrows at the rats. The rats are not enjoying these rains of arrows. And eventually the numbers start dwindling. But there was a siege unit of rats on the back end. And they get in through the back door because they ram it up and just bam, slam, down comes a little bit of the wall and the rats start pouring in. There's a huge fight. But Redwall has enlisted the help of some nearby badgers and otters from other nations to come defend them. So you now have different people coming in to protect Redwall because Redwall is like a central city. It's so important to everyone in the forest. And eventually the rats get beaten off. They die. Normal rats, no invasion. We've survived. Fox Hero is true hero. And everyone can defend themselves at Redwall. Yay, hooray. Alright, moving on. Few hundred years earlier or later, I don't remember, we have Ungotrun. He is a ruthless marauder who is well known throughout the lands and everything as a vicious pirate who has assailed many nations and come out victorious. He not only has rats in his unit, he has voles, he has turtles, and he also has foxes. He has many vicious critters. He also, I think, has an otter or a weasel, and the weasel is like an assassin. That's a weasel assassin. We're going to go with that. It's a weasel assassin, and we're sailing on this religious community up in Lingenford. And Lingenford is it's atop a high cliff, again with this high ground bullshit, atop of a high cliff that overlooks the ocean. So it is on the coast. It's very easy for Ungotrun to explore. The only difference between this and Redwall is that Ungotrun takes over this place. He just shoots the cannonballs. They take over Lingenford. And Lingenford falls under Ungotrun's control. So Ungotrun is now in control of this. They're making a mess of this sacred ground, this holy little place, Lingenford. But they didn't kill everybody. Everyone managed to get out. Well, most everybody. So there were some casualties somewhere along the line. Now, what happens with this is recruitment. The Badger King hero, who I don't remember the name of, but we'll call Ted, just for reference's sake. So Ted goes and he recruits people from all over. He amasses a gigantic army to go after Ungotrun and chase them out of his home. He is successful.
Wow, Ted already sounds like a loser.
Well, Ted is a king and is a badger. If you have ever seen a badger fight, you know, if you ever see a badger and it's running at you, just give up. Give up. You're done. You're done. It's a badger. You don't understand how strong badgers are. Anyway.
I mean, I know Bellingham Linude, but that's the only badger I know.
Typhlosion. Typhlosion's also a badger. It's a volcano badger.
Shit.
You ever been erupted on by a Typhlosion? That's what badger power is right there.
All right.
It's easy to counter, but man, does it hurt when you don't. Anyway. So, Ungotrun is defeated. And now we're back to the other stuff with Redwall. The rest of this, I have literally zero recollection of. So if you want me to continue, it will be me just absolutely making crap up. But this is what I remember.
And we will probably believe it.
Make it up.
Well, let's do a pit stop and see how accurate I was of Redwall. Oh, it's Brian Jacobs. That's who it is. Or Jocks, I mean. Redwall books in order. Oh, Lord Brocktree. I do remember I'm looking at them now. It doesn't appear that he is still writing them. It looks like the last one he wrote was in 2011. I have read Redwall. Salamandastron. I remember reading that one. Matameo. The Long Patrol. The Outcast of Redwall? Mossflower, Martin the Warrior, and Lord Brocktree. I believe Lord Brocktree is the one who fights Urgot-Trun. Or Ungot-Trun, I mean. And I believe the ones that I currently have that I have not read are Marlfox, the Tagarung, and I want to say the Rogue Crew. I might need to look at it. But anyway. So, I'm going to go to Redwall. We'll see how accurate I was. Oh, this has so much more of a plot summary. I think I'm going to give myself 5% accuracy just skimming through the first sentence. A young...
And there's still an entire wall after it.
I think I have a lot of things that went wrong here. This is what 15 years will do to a man. A young anthropomorphic mouse named Matthias, a novice monk at Redwall Abbey. It's not a castle, it's an abbey full of monks. Or citadel, I mean. As a novice monk at Redwall Abbey, where he was adopted as a young orphan, though he dreams of a life of adventure inspired by the legends of Martin the Warrior, founder of Redwall. One summer, the abbey is surrounded by the army of Clooney the Scourge, an infamously evil one-eyed rat. Okay, I do remember that the villain was a rat. Matthias is guided by visions of Martin the Warrior, while the abbey inhabitants prepare for defense of their home against Clooney's impending attack. Matthias seeks Martin's famous sword, supposedly hidden somewhere within the abbey, helped particularly by Methuselah, an ancient grizzled mouse who serves as Redwall's historian. Clooney, meanwhile, attempts to gain entrance to the abbey and murders a defector from his horde, Selah the Fox. Selah's son, Chickenhound, seeks refuge at Redwall, but ends up accidentally killing Methuselah after getting caught stealing. Driven from the abbey, Chickenhound is maimed in the wilderness by the venomous adder Asmodeus Poisonteeth, a local terror in Mossflower Wood, the forest that surrounds the abbey. Clues to the location of Martin's sword and shield have been built into the abbey, allowing Matthias to recover the shield, though he discovers that the sword has been stolen by a wild sparrow tribe. The sparrows, called sparrows, that dwell on Redwall's roof. He learns that from the violent sparrows, that the sword was stolen from them, in turn by Asmodeus. The king of the sparrows attacks Matthias, but dies when the two plummet together off of the abbey roof. Matthias recovers and ventures to Asmodeus' lair with his new allies, Logalog, a shrew, and Warbeak Spara, the new and just queen of the aforementioned sparrows. Matthias, Logalog, and two other shrews succeed in retrieving the sword from Asmodeus' cave. Asmodeus kills the latter two, and Matthias subsequently kills Asmodeus. Alerted to the fall of the abbey by the Sparrow tribe, Matthias rushes back to Redwall to save his friends. The Redwall inhabitants have been using boiling water, oil barrels, and hornets and fire to repel Clooney's horde, but the abbey finally falls when Clooney threatens the family of the gatekeeper, who allows Clooney's forces access to the abbey. Matthias, his allies now including the Mossflower Shrews and the whole Sparrow tribe, along with the newly captive Redwall population, battles against Clooney's minions. Clooney strikes his poison barb tail at Father Abbot, Mortimer. But Matthias quickly avenges the abbot's injury by dropping the giant bell atop the abbey on Cluny, crushing him to death and cracking the bell in the process. Abbot Mortimer proclaims Matthias the warrior of Redwall and dies from his wound immediately after. The battle ends in victory for the defenders of Redwall. An epilogue reveals that Matthias has married the field mouse named Cornflower, and she has given birth to their son Matameo, which is abbreviated for his name, Matthias Methuselah Mortimer, and the Joseph's bell has been reshaped into 2 new bells called Matthias and Methuselah. There you go.
What?
So remember everything I said?
Too many names. Too much murder.
There's a lot of murder in these books. I was 5% accurate or less. The only part that I got right was Cluny was a rat. I didn't remember his name. I remember that the villain was a rat. It's great. It's great. It's so good to know that I was so wrong. I wasn't wrong in the fact that there were other people that came to help defend Redwall, because I do remember that being a thing. I don't remember jack shit about this snake. I don't remember fuck all about this being with monks and shit. But, hey, after 15 years, I will take a less than 5% accuracy on Redwall itself. Now, as far as Lord Brocktree goes, which this is the one that I specifically think is Ungot Trun. I might be wrong. Nope, I am correct. I saw Trun's name in this. So this book revolves around the Badger Lord Brocktree, who I named Ted, father of Boar the Fighter. Yeah, I'm not going through all of that. Badger Lord Brocktree. He sets out to find an ancient Badger Mountain stronghold named Salamandastron, which I called Lingenford, just because I couldn't remember the names. In Salamandastron, trouble comes for Brocktree's father, Lord Stonepall. Years of peace have left the mountain stronghold with few fighters, and those that remain are long past their prime, so they're all old. Oh, okay. Ungot Trun is not a rat, he is a wildcat. He lays siege to Salamandastron, aka Lingenford, with his blue hordes. Eventually he overruns the mountain, kills a lot of people. He takes at least 60 hares as prisoners, but through the efforts of Stiffener Medic and his otter friend Brogalaw, they escape. So he takes...
I really feel like someone had a stroke when coming up with some of these names.
It looks like it reading it. I'm not even gonna lie. Listen to this name. Dorothea Duckfontein Dilworthy. That is one name.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was someone that's just named Meth Head or Cratchit.
Brian Jocks, Meth Head. Thanks to the Bark Crew, a group of guerrillas formed by Stiffener and Brogalaw to harass Trun, the Blue Hordes are slowly starved, their supplies cut off, and Ungot Trun tricks the Bark Crew into putting up a last stand in battle. But Lord Brocktree joins forces with the Hares and saves the day. The book culminates in a final massive battle with many memorable characters killed, including Juka and Fleetscut. Eventually, when the battle ends up a near stalemate, Trun and Brocktree face off in a duel. After a failed assassination attempt on Brocktree by the Sea Rats, Ripfang and Dumai, and the Corsair fleet captain Karangul, Trun's second in command, The Badger eventually wins, snapping Trun's spine in half and leaving him on the sand to die. Trun is thrown into the water, but survives, only to be drowned by Grodel, one of his former advisors. Holy shit.
The sand spine snap. Anakin's worst nightmare.
Bro, how do you snap someone's spine, throw them in the ocean, and still not kill them? That's insane. Alright, well there you go. I believe I've accomplished my 5% accuracy for that one. Very pleased with myself here. But yeah, definitely go and check out the Redwall books. They're very good reads. They're just enjoyable. It's like comfy reading until there's a bunch of fighting and murdering. That doesn't sound comfy and inviting at all, but that's how I imagine it.
Murder. Gotta love it. I've learned one thing today is that murder is something you should do. Don't quote me on that. Actually do. That would be fun.
Alright!
That would be an interesting thing to explain to police officers.
No, don't, no. I don't like that.
Remember, guys, do drugs.
Okay. Do y'all have any other ones that y'all want to do before I go into Spyro?
No,
None.
I'd rather get cancer.
Oh, I hate both of you. I hate both of you. Why are you making me? Okay.
Well, to be fair,
Yes.
but you thought something was going to come after that? No. To be fair,
Something has to come after that.
that's it.
It's a prepositional
I can
phrase.
choose not
No,
to.
you can't.
I can choose not
You can choose to be bad. That's right.
right.
I forgot. You could just choose to be brainless and not English correctly.
What do you think half my time playing on Smogon was? Do you think I used my brain?
No, I do not think you did. Not at all. Not for a second.
Congratulations. Wow. So why would you expect anything less?
Because I would at least expect you to be funny and not a troll to me, your friend. Your good old friend.
Well, then I hate to disappoint you, but I don't feel bad.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just jump right into Spyro then. So I'm sure all y'all know about Spyro the Dragon. This is...
I don't.
Are you being serious or are you trolling?
I'm being
Okay,
serious.
you actually don't know about Spyro the Dragon.
No, I never played the games.
Okay, well, I mean, some people who haven't played the games know a little bit about it. Like, they know it's about a purple dragon who's, like, a kid dragon that ends up saving the world, yada yada, stuff like that. Well, I'm gonna take you through the ringer.
Nobody.
Nobody what?
The only thing I remember attributed to it is Skylanders.
I know next to nothing about Skylanders other than the name of Skylanders is Skylanders.
Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Done so. Anyway.
Great. Now take a knife and stab it.
That sounds like too much work. I'm on break. Anyway,
Freaking loser, man. What a loser. Everyone laugh at Secor in the comments.
cool. Anyway, so Spyro the Dragon. So the Legend of Spyro it's kind of like the Legend of Zelda in the sense that Spyro, the hero Spyro is reincarnated every life cycle or so into the royal bloodline of dragons. Just like the hero Link.
So he's a phoenix.
No, because both. No. It's kind of like how Link is reincarnated into a Link in another time later on when Ganon's spirit redoes itself and the Zelda line gets passed down and it's Zelda again.
I understand.
Yeah, that's how Spyro the Dragon works.
Link is a phoenix.
Yep, that's exactly right. Link is a phoenix. Spyro's also a phoenix. Spyro will reincarnate himself every so often to be the hero Spyro in a new form, in a new body. He's fresh dragon.
And Link reincarnate himself?
Who?
Can Link reincarnate himself?
Not through his own powers, but through goddess powers that he does not own. He's just borrowing mostly. That's why we got so Triforce of Courage.
So he can. He just needs to abuse.
He doesn't know how.
Gotcha.
Anyway, Spyro doesn't know how to either. It just kind of happens, and we're leaving it there. So we start off. There is a nasty frogman. Don't remember his name. We're gonna call him Billy. Billy is a magic frog king who is in service of the Norks. The Norks are like orcs, but they're actually Norks. So think of like if orcs were an actual race or a species, Norks would be like their bastard cousins. Kind of like
So they're basically dorks.
Sort of, except they're more like jocks and not dorks.
Are they holding corks?
Maybe in the PlayStation 1 graphics they look like corks, but I'm pretty sure most of it's just clubs. Billy clubs. Anyway, Billy the Magic Frogman, he wants all the gems, and he doesn't like dragons very much, so he has a brilliant plan of turning every dragon in the land of Etheria to stone. And he accomplishes this. He is very successful. And Spyro is the only one that happens not to get turned to stone. Now, how do we unstone these dragons? There's some magic that ends up happening, and we meet Sparx the Dragonfly. Sparx the Dragonfly is a pivotal and essentially infamously famous character with no flaws whatsoever. Sparx is your health bar, and also is not your health bar. Sparx is your companion and is so much more than that. We all love Sparx. We all love Spyro. Well, Spyro is ballin'. He gets his shit down. He explores through all the worlds, unstones the dragons, confronts Mr. Magic Frogman, and beats the Billy out of him. And Billy is no more. He has been burned to a crisp through Spyro's flames. And this sparks the first...
So he beat the Billy out of Billy?
He beat the Billy out of Billy. You are 100% accurate. So Billy has been beaten down, and there is no more Billy. But Gnasty Gnorc, king of the Gnorcs, hears about this. And it's go time. It's go time. Billy is dead, but Gnasty Gnorc is ready to rise to power. And Gnasty Gnorc takes everything that Spyro's accomplished here and says, ha ha! And kind of kicks Spyro in the ass and kicks all the other dragons in the ass. He has stolen a very sacred relic to the dragons and beaten the dragons senseless. They don't really know what to do, but Spyro has a plan. He's going to do what he did the first time and do it all over again. But this time he's coming for Gnasty Gnorc.
What a loser.
And Gnasty Gnorc is a big motherfucker. This boy's got linebacker shoulders. William Perry would be scared of how big Gnasty Gnorc is. If y'all don't know who William Perry is, just Google who William Perry is. You'll understand very quickly who he is. One of the greatest NFL players of all time. And also...
No, he's not.
Alright, hold on. Pause.
No, he's not.
How is he not? How...
He is known as the Refrigerator Man because he
showcased himself with a refrigerator and advertised it. His stats were not great.
Have you seen clips of him? I don't know if the refrigerator part is true. I thought that was his nickname because he's literally...
That was his nickname because of that.
I don't believe that because... Okay, I'm actually going to look up this because he was a huge fucking man and he was very fast for a defensive tackle. Like, that's what made him very scary. Like, if he gets to you, the quarterback, you are going to the ground. Yeah, William Anthony Perry. William Anthony Perry. I don't know how to read these stats.
The only Hall of Fame he is in is WWE.
You know what? Whatever. I don't care. Look at clips of William Perry, everybody. He is a huge man, and he can break through defensive or offensive lines like they were nothing. If he gets to the quarterback is going to the ground very quickly. That is who I am talking about. Anyway, Nasty Nork is a big motherfucker. Spyro ends up taking him down with the horns. As you messed with the dragon, you not only got the flames, you got the horns. And now we are ready for our first reincarnation cycle. Spyro is reincarnated.
It's an isekai.
Sure. Spyro's reincarnated. There is no more Billy. There is no more Nasty Nork. They are things of the past. We have advanced to a new age, a new dawn. But we're not at a new beginning yet. That's a different game. We are now at the part where Spyro falls in love with a kangaroo. And they have babies. So this is, Spyro has friends now. And I don't remember who the villain is in this game. But you go around with your friends. There's a little fox dude who kind of is like a Crash Bandicoot knockoff. But yeah, you just kind of go around everywhere just doing your own thing. You get rich. You get a lot of gems by doing this. And you're saving a lot of people by doing this. And then there's a bunch of dragonflies. And you're saving Sparks' family. Because it's the 1,000-year dragonfly or something like that. Anyway, I didn't play that game. So, next reincarnation cycle happens after Spyro marries Kangaroo Baby and has children with her. Because that is the canon ship that actually happens in my mind. So we have little Spyro Kangaroo babies. Great. Awesome. Next reincarnation cycle, we are at A Hero's Tale. A Hero's Tale features Spyro in a completely new world where there is a scientist and a mad scientist battling for each other for who will control the world. Good scientist is on Spyro's side, or rather Spyro's on his side. And there's 4 friends that you adventure as all of them. There's a little cheetah dude that has a bow and arrow. And then there's 3 other ones. They're not important. Actually, none of them are important. There might be a little mole dude. But you go through the world, you adventure. There's an underwater level. There's a sky level. There's a bunch of stuff. Spyro goes through it and whoops ass yet again. So we end up going through this. You beat the mad scientist. You stop the world from being set on fire. You help out the good scientist. And the world is saved. Next reincarnation cycle. We are back. There's an egg. It is a sacred egg. There are only eggs every few years for dragons because their reproductive cycle is very long for some reason. Probably because if the almighty beings of this universe that made the universe decided dragons to have a shorter respawn time and spawn creation time, dragons would be too OP for the entire universe and they would just take over. That being said, they're still very dominant in general. But we have in this world monkeys. We have in this world things that want to use the dragons nefariously. So there are 2 eggs that happen to be laid. One of them is Spyro's egg, and one of them is Cinder's egg. Cinder's egg is a black egg and hatches into a black dragon. Spyro's egg is purple and hatches into the legendary purple dragon from ages past that tells of his great heroics through every reincarnation cycle. Well, one day the monkeys decide to raid the Palace of Dragons, and they will go in there, everything they've got, literally everything they've got, commanded by Gaul, Lord of the Apes, or something like that. Anyway, they come in and they steal Cinder's egg, and they destroy all of the others, because their whole purpose is they only need one egg to actually survive, because if they only get one, then they can train the dragon that hatches out of that egg to do their bidding, and wreak havoc on the other dragons. So essentially, just brainwash it. That's the only thing they need to do. It would be smarter to brainwash all of the dragons, honestly, but too many brains thinking at the same time is a bad thing, so they discourage thinking where they're from. There are monkeys, after all. They just like to beat things with sticks. So, in beating things with sticks, they take Cinder's egg, but luckily there is a fire dragon. I think his name is Asmodeus or something like that. Some shit. I don't know. He's voiced by Gary Oldman, if you're interested in voice actors. At least in the first game he is. He takes Spyro's egg and sends it down a little honey river. It looks like honey. It's probably not. He sends this egg down the river because he's like, if there's any hope, we need to have the purple rare super dragon respawn. And he saves the egg. Cinder's egg hatches, years pass by. Spyro is adopted by a family of dragonflies, which they happen to be pregnant when they find Spyro's egg. Spyro's egg hatches at the same time that the mother dragonfly gives birth to a young Sparx. Sparx the dragonfly. He and Spyro become friends forever, inseparable. One day, while Sparx and Spyro are playing, Spyro thinks he is a dragonfly. Does not understand that he does not look like Sparx. Somehow, it's been 10 years at least. So they end up playing around like they normally do. Sparx gets caught by a little fly trap, and Spyro has to go and save him. Now this is where the fun begins. We are finally at the part where the monkeys have returned. Y'all following me? The monkeys have returned. There's war in these forests where Spyro lives. The mushroom forest, where Sparx and Spyro have been just peacefully chilling the whole time. Cinder wants them down in flames. Cinder has sent the monkeys out to destroy everything. And Spyro and Sparx barely make it out with their lives. Spyro, who is yet to even be able to breathe fire, randomly breathes fire and saves his friend Sparx and ends up rescuing themselves. The family of dragonflies parts ways, and Spyro learns from his mother and father, adoptive mother and father, the dragonflies, that he is a dragon, and that he needs to go and see the dragon that pushed his egg here. They don't know much about him, but they know where the dragons used to live, and that's probably the best place to start. There are only 4 or 5 dragons left in the world outside of Cinder, Spyro, and just a few strays. So we're here. Spyro is adventuring through the Mushroom Forest. He gets to the temple where he meets the fire dragon that saved him as an egg. And we go through this. Spyro is taught how to master his body a bit better. That came out weird, but we're going to keep rolling with it. So he knows how to breathe fire better. He can shoot chunks of fire, fireballs, and just flame breath. So he has a little bit more tools at his disposal. He can do combo moves and shit now. So now he needs to go and rescue other dragons that Fire Dragon Boy knows are alive. And they've been captured by the monkey army and are just being tormented relentlessly. Or being held prisoner, whatever. So the first one that he goes and finds is in a place called Dante's Freezer. So instead of Dante's Inferno, it's Dante's Freezer. The developers thought they were being clever. You go and save him. It's this lightning dragon dude. He's really annoying. He talks like he's a fucking thesaurus. Anyway, you save Lightning Dude from Undead Monkey Man, and yeah, he teaches you how to breathe electric and stuff. Then you go and you end up at a volcano place. There's an evil train conductor, and you have to fight him. He's really mean. But you meet the Earth Dragon. The Earth Dragon really teaches you how to boof things over. I don't know what that word means, boof, but we're going to go with it. It means to absolutely crush things. So you have Earth Breath now. So you're basically like Toph, except you breathe Toph at people. If you don't know who Toph is, watch Avatar Last Airbender. So we're going through it. Spyro has learned a lot. He's become a wise dragon. And we continue going through it. Now we are at Cinder's castle. All the monkeys are here. They want to stop you from getting to Cinder. But do you let them? No. Spyro walks right up there and takes what is his. Not including Cinder, because he and Cinder have an all-out battle. And Spyro unleashes some unlocked spirit power that is within him that he didn't know that he had. And only the Fire Dragon told him about it a little bit, but said it's probably not you that has this power. So Spyro uses a lot of his soul energy to unleash the purple dragon breath and chakra that he has to beat Cinder. Cinder would die normally while they're fighting, except Spyro goes and saves her. They've somehow opened a rift in like space-time, and because their power was too strong. So then Spyro like jumps into it to pull Cinder out of it. And it turns out that Cinder is just as old as Spyro and not actually an adult dragon as she's been depicted for the rest of the game, because she was fed drugs by the monkeys. So he takes her back to Dragon Palace, and they are then raised a little bit more. Fast forward a little more, Gaul has finally heard what has happened to Cinder. He's big pissed. Cinder still blames herself for all of the destruction that took place while she was in charge of the monkeys for a while. She decides to leave. She eventually gets captured by Gaul. Spyro doesn't know this, but he also gets captured by some pirate monkeys. Pirate monkeys are very strong. They have some mechanical creations of demonic size that Spyro has to fight, including a literal scorpion ship, where its tail is a cannon, and the ship is very fast. You have to fight that as a little Spyro. It's very dangerous. He's on a much larger spaceship. Not spaceship, but it's like an airship. That's what I'm trying to say. Spyro fights his way through that. He finds the pirate captain, who can fly with the parrots on his shoulder, even though he is a monkey, with a very long tongue for some reason. Spyro eventually does fight and defeat this captain, and he ends up in this really weird place with a bunch of crystals in it, where he learns things about some of the past, but it's really trippy, and there's like a lot of vague stuff that's been explained to him. And after this place, Spyro gets to the Monkey Fortress, because apparently the ancient spirits of Crystal Place have allowed him to really fly, so he can actually fly now, sort of. It's only like a temporary thing, before he can just stop truly just flying forever. So he ends up at Super Monkey Palace, where Gaul lives, and he ends up going through there and fights Gaul. Gaul is ridiculously powerful, and as Spyro literally on the edge of his rope until Spyro's super secret energy is unleashed once again, which turns him into a Shadow Dragon, where he uses Shadow Dragon powers to completely thrash Gaul and send him into a acidic goop that is at the bottom of this thing that they're fighting in. I guess we'll call it arena. He saves Cinder, and Cinder is ultimately grateful for Spyro, and we kind of see that Spyro and Cinder have a thing for each other. And Sparks, the entire story through this point has been very sarcastic and hilarious, and you will quote everything he says. And then the third game happens, which I haven't played, but I'm going to give you the story of the third game anyway, because I'm on a roll right now, and I'm feeling myself, even though I really need to drink some water. So third game rolls around. We have Spyro and Cinder. They've been together for years. They're adult dragons now. They're ready to leave the nest, but the Dragon Palace isn't ready for them to leave. The monkeys are. The monkeys strike back yet again with a super secret supernova weapon, and it separates Spyro and Cinder. But love will not keep these two apart. Monkeys will not keep these two's loves apart for sentence. Spyro has to now go and find out what happened to Cinder. He battles through a mountain. There's a mountain. It's a grass plateau. He battles a fucking mountain to get to Cinder. It's not enough. He needs to go to the oceans. He goes to the oceans. He finds more monkeys. He destroys the monkeys. He's reminded of the pirates, and he saves some minor moles. Think of like little Monty moles from Mario. Yeah, they're blind, but they're funny. Anyway, he goes and saves some of them people. And they tell him, hey, maybe you need to go look over here for Cinder. He finds Cinder, but she is surrounded by hordes and hordes of evil monkeys. And he goes through everything to save Cinder. And then it turns out that he and Cinder fight together to destroy the actual boss of the monkeys, who we don't know his name, but just know he's Evil Monkey Demon King. So Sun Wukong, evil incarnate over here, is fighting them, but the power of love surpasses all, and Spyro and Cinder end up taking them down through ancient powers buried within their spirits, and then they live happily ever after and have dragon babies. And that is the end.
My brain is fried. Scorched. Reduced to ashes. Please help.
I'm sorry. I'm very afraid to see how unbearably inaccurate I am. Someone do it for me. Justin, do it for me. Tell me how inaccurate I actually was in all of that. Or how accurate I was.
No, you're gonna find out
I've just talked for about 30 minutes. I need like 4 gallons of water.
Well, that's not my
I
problem.
asked you a favor. It's not even a hard favor. Could you just pull up like a Wikipedia page of like the Spyro games and just give the plot off? Just read it or something?
I could, but that would require me being a nice person, and I really can't afford that.
I hate you so much. I really do.
Dude, I have a reputation to uphold. You gotta
don't have
understand.
any reputation yet. You don't have a known reputation yet.
I never said I was a good
It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. You don't have any reputation. You're not known for things. I'm not gonna ask someone at work, oh, hey, did you hear what Justin Nut over here did? Man, Justin Nut's on some crazy shit this week. They're gonna look at me and be like, what the fuck are you babbling about? And then I'll have to explain to them who you are.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Flamity, can you help me? Can you just pull up the Wikipedia for the Spyro games plots and tell me how accurate I was? If you're not able, that's fine. I'll go and get some water if I have to.
Hydrate, my friend.
Alright, I'm going to go hydrate. I'll be back in like 20 to 40 seconds on the dot. Okay, I have water. I'm back. I guess I'll just pull up the page then. Alright.
I'm just saying I'm not seeing a whole lot of the names that you mentioned, or maybe I'm just already forgetting.
The main names that we have to remember are Spyro, Nasty Nork, Sparks, Gull, Cinder, and that's it. Those are the only names that I said were important. There is a kangaroo character that Spyro has babies with. This is canon. This is correct. This is in my head. Alright. Spyro games. Let's just... So let's see. Spyro the Dragon, first game. My god, that art. Fan art of it's amazing. But the game art, ooh. Ooh boy. It looks like some claymation gone wrong. Alright, plot. In the world of dragons, the Dragon Kingdom consists of 5 homeworlds: the Artisans, Peacekeepers, Magic Crafters, Peacemakers, and Dreamweavers. The 5 have lived together in harmony for many years. One day, a TV interview with a pair of dragons from the Artisan realm catches the attention of Nasty Nork. Ha! And I was right. Nasty Nork didn't like stuff. He was banished from the kingdom before because he was abrasive demeanor and then sent to an abandoned junkyard, which he renamed Nasty's World. The dragon's openly dismissive and derisive commentary concerning Nasty enrages him, driving him to unleash a full-fledged attack on the kingdom. Using his magic, he casts a spell across the land that encases every dragon in a crystal shell, turns them to stone. He also steals the dragon's prized collection of treasure, turning them into gemstones, into devious Nork soldiers, and other creatures to help him take over the world. Spyro is the only dragon that manages to avoid getting crystallized, and he is aided by Sparks, who sets out to defeat Nasty Nork. So he visits each of the world, he gets there, dragons that he saves gives them advice and stuff. When he gets to Nasty's world, he confronts Nasty Nork and then destroys him. After Spyro's quest is over, the access to Nasty's treasure portal opens and he retrieves stolen dragon eggs and a bunch of other stuff. A secret ending can then be unlocked by retrieving everything inside. In this ending, you see Spyro getting interviewed when another spell is placed on the dragons, and that prompts Spyro to set on another adventure. Alright. So that is that game. So I got them a little out of order because I think I said the second game first and then the Nasty Nork thing. Oh, let's wait. Ripto Quest. I think Ripto's Rage is the second game. Alright, Wikipedia, help. Alright. A few years after defeating Nasty Nork, Spyro the Dragon and his partner Sparks have had enough with the continuous raining and artisans, and they decide to vacation to Dragon Shores. When they go through the portal, Spyro instead ends up in Glimmer, one of the many realms that is not where he was going. And he was summoned there by a fawn named Elora, a hunter the cheetah, and the professor. Just the professor. They explained that a week prior they were experimenting with the device when a warlock known as Ripto, so this is Mr. Frogman, Ripto and his minions have wanted to do a world without dragons because they view them as pests, and Ripto decided to conquer where Spyro ended up. So they summoned him there, and Spyro has agreed to fight with them and fights against Ripto. During his quest, Spyro travels through the realms again, does pretty much the same thing as the first game, but now he has friends. Nope, Kitty, we're not going to do that. So let's see. There's a sleazy elitist bear in the game named Moneybags who needs money for certain favors of Spyro. Hunter the cheetah helps Spyro out on certain missions, and Professor does the same thing with his intellect. Blah, blah, blah. He beats Ripto eventually, and in the epilogue you do... Oh, sorry, it was the fawn that Spyro kisses, not the kangaroo. I really thought it was kangaroo. As well as moments such as Spyro and Elora missing their chance to kiss. Anyway, yeah, no, Spyro makes out with a fawn and has fawn babies. That's what I remember. Anyway, that was that game. So then we go to Enter the Dragonfly, which is the one that I remember that I probably got horribly wrong because this wasn't as much. This was so much longer ago. The story begins during a rite of passage for a group of dragon hatchlings. Each hatchling is meant to receive a dragonfly partner of their own, but Ripto has come back and disrupts the event. He makes his unexpected appearance through a magic portal along with henchmen in order to capture all the dragonflies, thus weakening the power of all dragons, and get his revenge on Spyro. His spell misfires, however, and the dragonflies just become scattered through all the realms, just kind of everywhere. And then Spyro has to go and get all of the dragonflies back together, and then he fights and destroys Ripto, who just leaves. That's it. That is all that happens there. That is all I actually remember. Then we go to A Hero's Tale, which I remember I played a fuck ton of this game, but I probably got all of this wrong. Alright. Plot. Oh god, there's no plot here. Alright, I've been 100% accurate on A Hero's Tale's plot, and no one can tell me otherwise. Tell me otherwise in the comments, please. I mean, seriously, please, in the comments. Tell me what I got wrong in A Spyro A Hero's Tale. It doesn't even have the games that I thought. That's great. Spyro A New Beginning. Okay. So I think I got this one mostly right. The plot of the game begins inside of a temple where a dragon named Ignitus is watching over some eggs. It is the year of the dragon. Every 12 years where new dragon eggs are born, or laid and then born. Then there's a prophecy that tells of a rare purple dragon, aka Spyro, which will direct that era's fate. Ignitus is looking after Spyro's egg. The dragons are at war with an enemy known as the Dark Master, who knows the prophecy and lays siege to the temple, destroying the brood of eggs. Ignitus escapes with the purple dragon's egg and then lets it drift down the river to a family of dragonflies who discover it. They raise him. Sparx is born on the same day that Spyro is born. Then one day, when they're older, Spyro is told that he is not a dragonfly, but is a stranger from a distant land. Spyro leaves the swamp where he lives. I thought it was a forest. I guess it was a swamp. Sparx kind of just goes along with Spyro. Hostile forces pursue Spyro, but he eventually comes into contact with Ignitus, but fears that everything is lost, even though Spyro's alive, because the Dark Master's forces are led by a female dragon named Cinder. Spyro convinces Ignitus to lead him into the Dragon Temple and drive out Cinder's forces, and then tell him more about basically everything. There was a dragon I left out. There was a ice dragon. I completely forgot about that. But I only said he rescued 3 dragons, so 3 dragons is more canon than what I'm actually reading, apparently. So Spyro goes and rescues the other 3 dragons, simultaneously gaining powers of ice, or electricity, and earth, and meeting a couple of friends along the way. There's a lot of names here, I'm not going to read them. And then it's learned that Cinder has been draining the dragon's power into crystals. Cinder, however, does start fighting Spyro after he rescues the 4th dragon. Ignitus intervenes, but Cinder absolutely beats his ass. And then it's revealed some other stuff. Spyro attempts to fight Cinder, but she succeeds in draining Ignitus's power and then escapes to the sealed realm of the Dark Master. During the fight, Spyro saw something familiar in Cinder's eyes, and he basically goes and saves her. She doesn't end up reviving the Dark Master, blah blah blah. That's about it. But yeah, so Spyro unleashes a lot of power and it drains him of energy. What? Alright, Justnut's having a glitch happen. I'm
There's early stuff.
Yeah, that's probably what that is. I'm just going to put him on mute for a couple minutes. Alright, that was a new beginning, and then I have 2 more games to go through, because I actually chose to do this to myself. Why didn't anyone stop me? Alright, so that was Spyro A New Beginning, which I pretty much got most of that right. Surprisingly, I got most of that right. That's kind of wild. What was it? Eternal Night. So this is the 2nd game in this trilogy that I remember. The synopsis. Oh, the plot. There we go. So the story continues. Now Spyro and Cinder going back through the swamp, back to the Dragon Temple. Spyro catches up to her and asks her not to leave. She feels bad and leaves. She leaves Spyro and Sparx alone. After she leaves, the temple is attacked by the monkeys. I mean apes. Apparently they were all apes. I thought they were monkeys. My bad. Spyro repels the attack. Ignitus, who is the leader of the other dragons, sends Spyro to seek out a tree that Spyro saw in a vision at the end of the 1st game. Don't remember that. At the same time, Ignitus looks for help in the fight against the monkeys. Spyro searches for the tree. He also searches for another dragon named the Chronicler, which is in the crystal place. I didn't remember there being a dragon, but that's who's speaking to him in the crystal place after the 3rd part, kind of. And he, tells Spyro a bunch of shit. Let's see. Something. I don't remember any of that. After Spyro... Oh, right. So he does go to this place where he can find this tree, and he gets captured by some pirate monkeys, or pirate apes. And this is where he is put into gladiatorial combat. When he defeats the 3rd enemy in the arena, he is forced to fight Cinder, who the pirates have also captured. Before they can think of an escape plan together, the pirate ship is attacked by the apes, who are after Cinder, and they manage to capture her. Spyro escapes and defeats the pirate captain Scab, and he then discovers that the evil apes have established a base on the Mountain of Malifor, which is where Gaul lives. It's also known as the Well of Souls. That's a different thing altogether. So the evil apes are trying to revive the Dark Master using a lunar alignment called the Night of Eternal Darkness. Spyro also discovers they are keeping Cinder prisoner. So basically I was right. Gaul eventually captures Cinder. Important part. Spyro finds the Chronicler in the in the Crystal Place, who tells him about the Dark Master. And according to him, the Dark Master was the first purple dragon, and his raw power allowed him to master practically every elemental power. When his growth failed to stop, he was exiled and sealed away by the dragon elders, but not before he taught the apes how to use dragon magic. The chronicler wants Spyro to hide from the Dark Master until a later time, but Spyro insists on going to Cinder's aid. So Spyro disrespects his elders and does business. When he goes to the Mountain of Malefor, Gaul, the Ape King, orders Cinder to attack Spyro. She ends up attacking Gaul instead. He knocks her the fuck out and fights Spyro himself. During the fight, the lunar alignment occurs, and it channels the evil energy through Spyro instead of reviving the Dark Master. Cinder awakens and knocks Spyro out of this evil beam after he's pretty much destroyed Gaul, which frees him from the beam's power. When the alignment passes, the mountain starts crumbling around them. Remembering the chronicler's words about riding out the storm, Spyro uses the rest of his powers that he currently has to encase himself, Cinder, and Sparx in a crystal to protect them as everything around them collapses into dust. After the credits, it is shown that in the crystal, while someone is watching, the chronicler says that when Spyro awakens, the world will be different, but also assures them that he is not alone. He has allies. And then that would bring him to the final game, Dawn of the Dragon? Yeah, that would be Dawn of the Dragon. Which this was apparently the worst in that series of 3, I think, according to IDBM. But this is the one that I never got to play, that I don't even want to read the plot of because, oh my god, there's so much there. I got everything 100% right. I will not be taking any questions.
Not like I would have any because I am drained and my brain is just gone.
Yep. That's definitely for sure. This has been a very fun episode, even though I feel like my throat needs to be ripped out.
Pull a sandspine snap on that one.
Alright, and muting Justinut again. Does background noise. Well, that was fun. I learned a lot about memory and the fact that it is absolutely BS, and I now don't think that witness testimony should be used based on how accurate any of this was. And the funniest thing is, it hasn't been even, well, I guess maybe it has been 10 years since I played the last 3 of the Spyro games that I was describing, but, like, I remember those a lot more than I remember the first games, and I got them mostly right, but I still had a lot of errors, for sure.
Still, could be worse.
Yeah, but the thing with the Redwall series, oh god, I got nothing right. So, yeah. We should totally do this again sometime. Preferably when Odin is here. I feel like Odin would definitely have some stories to tell. Anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and end podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you liked it, please leave a like, follow us on Spotify, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching it there. Yeah, and definitely subscribe to this channel if you saw the live stream of it or watched it on the other YouTube channel that this happens to be on, because I've just decided in my ADHD-ness to do that. Anyway, see these nuts next time, everybody.